Let's talk about Elizabethan clothes. Elizabethan fashion was maybe even more important than fashion is today. You needed to dress according to your rank and you needed to be dressing in style. Out of fashion clothes would typically be given to your maid servants if you had an old dress, for example. It was very much what you wear is what you are. Having a female monarch did have an effect on the fashion. So, for example, really massive cod pieces that were made fashionable by Henry VIII were out, as were big padded shoulder pads. In terms of women, unless you were a washerwoman, so it's sort of the bottom of society and needed your arms and legs out, bare arms and legs were not allowed. However, unmarried women could show as much cleavage as they liked. Now, the sumptuary laws, which I've done a video on before, you can see that here, said which fabrics could be worn by which members of society. So, for example, you needed to be having at least £200 a year coming in if you wanted to wear leopard fur, or £20 a year if you wanted to wear silk. There was also a woolen cap act that came in that said that anybody over the age of 7 needed to be wearing a woolen cap on Sundays and holy days, although a lot of these things weren't really strictly enforced. Elizabeth herself favoured dark colours, described as sad colours at the time, and she particularly liked black and white together. Because of this love of dark, more sombre colours, that you would be ill-advised to turn up to court wearing anything too bright. Despite this, however, she did like to keep abreast of fashion, so she would get portraits over from the continent so she could see the latest styles, and also young ladies or girls would often be sent dolls over from France dressed in the latest fashion so that the dresses could be copied and then they've got a doll to play with. Had a real magpie patchwork kind of style to fashion, so you might see Spanish sleeves on a French gown coupled with a Dutch cloak. Ruffs are also a big thing, and something useful about ruffs is they can help us date portraits. So the ruffs don't really appear until the mid of the 16th century, so 1550, 1560, and they don't start to get really big until the 1580s, 1590s, so bear that in mind when you're trying to work out how old a portrait might be. There you go and check out my video on sumptuary laws if you want a bit more detail about exactly what could be worn and by who.